Welcome to Sew and Tell, where sewists from fashion, theater, and indie sewing bring their different perspectives to the hottest topics in the sewing community. I'm Amanda Carestio.
I'm Kate Zeinard.
And I'm Meg Healy. Today on the podcast, we're talking sewing without patterns. Whether that be a draft-it-yourself pattern, draping, or following diagrams, sometimes there is just no need for printing, tiling, or even tissue patterns. We'll share a little something in our Sojou segment, and then we'll ask you to share something too. But before we jump in, how was our weekend, everybody?
I think it was pretty good. I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, I think it was pretty mellow for us. We didn't have much going on, so we just kind of hung around, did some errands, hung out with the cats, very mellow.
It was kind of cold and snowy in Colorado, so we, same thing, we just kind of stuck around the house. Did a little bit of sewing, stayed up too late last night sewing, which I haven't done in a while. I'm usually pretty good about cutting myself off, but one thing leads to another, and I'm like, I'll just get it to the next step. Oh, I only need to do this to get it to the next step.
Yeah.
And then
the next step's only going to take me 5 minutes.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So I looked up and I was like, oh, I better get to sleep. But, it was still fun.
Yeah.
How about you?
It's worth it. Like the next time when you're like, oh, I got so much done, even though it's, if you're in like the flow of it, sometimes like you just, for me, if I stop something mid, it's like hard to jump back into it. So it's like worth it just to power through for sure.
Yeah, and then I actually finished what I was making and wore it today, which was kind of hilarious. Like still clipping off thread ends while I'm wearing some overalls that I made.
Yeah, but who doesn't do that?
Cute.
Yeah,
they
thanks.
are cute. Yeah, they're super cute. Well, my weekend, it was Julian and Burry's birthday. They have the same birthday, which is so cute. So adorable. I know. I think that was like one of the deciding factors when we were deciding to adopt her. We're like, they have the same birthday, of course. So we went, so I had an action-packed weekend. I went out with my friends on Friday and then bowling for Julian's birthday, and I discovered that I have like my own way of bowling. I can't do the one hand, so I actually got 2 strikes when I just like bend down with both hands and just swing it and then just throw it with both hands.
That's awesome.
I know. Well, I can never throw mine straight one-handed, so I totally understand that.
Bowling is like one of my secret skills. It's like the only thing that I can come close to beating my husband at.
What?
But I did like the bowling club in college. It was like our biggest extracurricular group on the whole campus was the bowling league. It was huge.
Oh, that is amazing.
And so I got lots of practice.
That's funny.
Yeah.
My high school, actually, you could take a bowling class, but it was before school, and school started at 7:30, so you had to be really dedicated to doing your bowling credit in order to do 0 period bowling.
That's way too early to bowl.
Yeah.
Note, I never took that class. For the record.
I'll have to go bowling next time I'm down.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Anytime.
Yeah.
That would be fun. We'll see which of us is the worst bowler while we watch Amanda get strike after strike.
No, I do not get strike after strike. But
well, nice little segue into, I guess there's no segue from bowling to sewing patterns. But we're talking no patterns necessary. So nothing to tile, no tissue to unfold. Some patterns are simple enough that there is no pattern pieces and they are comprised of basic shapes and just the dimensions are given. Other times you just grab a large rectangle and pleat or gather it into a garment around your body. So what's your experience with no pattern? Have you ever made one? Maybe you've used like a diagram reference or just kind of taken something, just a shape, and then just make it something. I don't
know. For me, I was actually sitting here thinking about this, and I'm not sure I've ever gone like full patternless for a garment. I have for bags before.
Right.
Oh, bags are a lot easier to do that with. I've done some draping, but part of the draping process for me is to pull a pattern off of what you've draped. So,
right.
So I've never really
that's true.
gone to that point where, and I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I can't think of anything that I've really done that I don't think had a pattern past, when I was making like little tiny baby throw pillows before I even knew how to sew, and didn't know to put the wrong side or right sides together and that sort of thing. But other than that, I can't really think of anything. We'll see if this conversation sparks off our memory.
Sparks something up. How about you, Amanda?
I made a toga once, if you guys remember that.
I do remember. You didn't have a pattern for your toga?
You don't need a pattern for a toga.
Huh, weird.
No. I was thinking about this. I have made a few things, but it has largely been bags without patterns. One I made recently is the Fennel Fanny Pack by Sarah Kirsten, which is just dimensions, and it's a fairly small bag. And I think that it was nice and neat and easy to do, especially because I have a rotary cutter and a mat that has the measurements on it. And I was pretty familiar with that process from doing a lot of like quilted projects and quilting and cutting. So, really rectangles and stuff. Pretty easy. I have a pattern that I've never used, but it's the Anywhere skirt by Made Every Day. And it's a really cute button-up skirt. And you draft it to your measurements, and I love it. It's super summery. I should probably make one for the spring summer. Thinking maybe some gingham, but I haven't actually worked with it yet, since it's based on your measurements and there's math involved. But the other one that I'm fairly certain it's set up this way. I was thinking about the Wilder gown by Friday Pattern Company, and I believe all of the pattern pieces for the top are pattern pieces, and then for the tiers you cut dimensions. So it's kind of like half and half, which I think really makes sense in a case like that. But
and I've definitely done stuff like that before, where you pull out the bird style patterns do that a lot, where they're like,
it's true.
Cut a rectangle this size for the placket or whatever, and so there's no pattern piece to go with it, but that you just have to actually notice that note is in there and remember to cut that piece. So I've done some of that for sure.
Yeah, I have not done much with draping. There was actually a class locally that happened recently, and I was thinking next time that comes around I'm gonna take it, and because I feel like it'd be a nice thing to learn online or in a video or in a in-person class format. But I haven't really experimented too much with it. But so I have done a little bit.
I think when I was just first sewing, I had one of those those red adjustable dress forms, and it was before, like, I guess it was in high school when I got my first sewing machine, and I wasn't really familiar with patterns yet, and I would just like take fabric and just drape it on it and just note where to sew and just like come up with patterns and stuff like garments and dresses, like without even laying out fabric first. And so that was kind of my first introduction. I really liked that. But yeah, I've done a lot of no patterns. One of the sew-alongs I actually Berta Style has a ton of them called Draft It Yourself patterns. And they just give you the dimensions and diagrams. And yeah, one of the sew-alongs was a caftan, and it was a no pattern. It was like with the diagrams, it's like, rectangle, but then they give you like notch dimensions for certain like angled seams. It's really cool. So I've worked a lot with that, and circle skirts too. Right. They do a lot of draft your own circle skirts as well. So those are easy to do. And actually my wedding skirt, my overskirt was a no pattern. I just literally, I remember I knew how long I wanted it to be, and I just like used as much as I could. And I literally stood in the mirror because I don't have a dress form. I'm like in my current studio, I just use myself. And so I'm standing there in front of the mirror with pins, and I'm just like pleating it until I liked how it looked, and I pinned it and I sewed it, and then I cut and sewed a waistband. It was awesome because it's just when you deal with like large. I don't actually have a big enough table if I were to even cut that skirt in a rectangle and mark pleat. Like it's honestly sometimes so much easier just to just use like a big a big one. But I wanted to discuss some like pros and cons, I guess, of a no pattern. So I guess what would be some pros to a no pattern, like a draft it yourself pattern?
Takes up a lot less space.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's true.
And you can't lose your pattern pieces.
Yeah, and you don't have to tape them together.
And you don't have to tape them together.
No paper in general.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. I mean, unless you have to draft it first on paper, which sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, trick I have for people, because sometimes it's like if you have been working with like lots of patterns, it can be kind of a weird shift to not have like a physical pattern. A lot of people aren't equipped in their sewing studio just ready to have like large pattern paper and rulers and stuff. So I always say if you're starting into it, use old like, holiday wrapping paper. Like those like everyone usually has those laying around. So if you really want to get started in something like that, it's really, I think it's nice and sustainable. Kind of to draft it yourself. You can use whatever you have instead of printing. But then that comes with the con. If you love it and want to make it again, you basically need to start from scratch.
Right. Right. And especially if you do adjustments while you're messing with it, like instead of taking the exact thing that they give you or whatever, and you're like, okay, but I'm going to say put in these extra pleats here because I think this will be a nice look or whatever, then you're no guarantee you'll ever be able to recreate that.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. I guess you could I have just the habit of I take a picture of everything I sew and every step. I have like it all categorized on my phone. I always do that because I always think, oh, maybe I'll use it somewhere for somewhere for work or something. But yeah, no, that's definitely the biggest con for sure. It's just not being able to easily recreate that for sure.
I don't know. I feel like that it can also kind of, I mean, that means you have like a one-of-a-kind piece, which is kind of nice. Yeah. And I think that it can kind of free you up a little bit. I am so bad about making time to experiment and to really and play. And I feel like kind of getting away from the pattern could be helpful in that way. Just freeing you up a little bit and changing things up.
Though, to be fair, there's the other con. I think the biggest con is that you're kind of limited to the more simple stuff because you can't make yourself a princess gown with a whole bunch of like really fancy details and everything without a pattern. Even if you can draft that, you're going to have to draft it or else everything's not going to line up and things are going to be a big mess. So I do think, of course, a lovely basic shape is wonderful and I love them. But it is sort of, you have to decide if the thing that you're doing is appropriate for a no pattern situation.
Sure. I mean, I think definitely kind of looser, less fitted type garments in particular. I mean, we have had quite a few of these in Sojour's magazine. Yeah. And, and I do like that you're drafting based on your measurements too, because I feel like a lot
of times,
I feel like that's a good way to customize it, especially if you find yourself outside of a size range, or if you have, really different and distinct proportions that you can kind of, and maybe that's a good place to start for drafting your own patterns. If you're doing it by your measurements and you're using instructions, and then you might learn a little bit more about your body in doing that by really getting kind of up close and personal with your measurements and your shape.
And I think that is a great pro, actually. I've had that feedback before where people have asked us to do more draft your own patterns simply because it does allow you to, people who are limited by the size ranges that are available, it allows them to be able to really embrace the pattern and
it's like a plug in your own measurement kind of puzzle. If you have like the diagram, it's like insert waist measurement plus the end, it creates a shape, and then it's like totally your size. Which which lends itself great to the magazine situation, or you can just read and it's all nicely spelled out. Like there's some great ones in So News. The cover of the one coming up is actually a no pattern. The now and what is it? Now and later top.
Now and layer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, layer. Oh, it's a play on words thing. Oh, geez, near my. I thought I misspelled it when I have now and layer typed out, and I was like, that must have been a typo.
It was deliberate.
It was very deliberate. Yes, we like our puns for our headline titles. We do spend a bunch of time in meetings sitting there trying to come up with the best possible pun.
I know. I had my first kind of headlines meeting, and it was super fun. It's just like, us looking at things like, how can we like pun this time? It was super fun. So
we are very scientific about when we plan those. It's really like there's such a small window for when my brain will do puns. During the week. It's like not Monday, not Friday, not after 3:00.
Yeah,
not
can't
before
be too late.
9.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
It's very, you have to, and you can't be hungry when you're doing it either. So you've got to make sure you get it around lunch.
It's just like, food related.
I know. It's so funny. I will say, before we kind of talk about some other pattern options, I wondered, how do you, I mean, I think it's different if it's in a magazine, instructions are spelled out and, but how do you guys feel about buying a draft your own pattern just as a one-off? Because I'm bringing this up because I feel like there is a little part of me that's like, I want the pattern pieces. I don't want to have to do the work.
Especially if you are buying it for sure.
As a one-off.
Yeah, as a one-off, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it depends on the pattern. Like if it's a circle skirt, I don't know if I really want to go through the effort of buying a draft your own circle skirt pattern when I know how to draw a circle, right? Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, not very well, but.
Yeah. I know, that's a trick. That's a conundrum, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel, I think, more positive than negative about no patterns. I feel like every once in a while there's like a little niggly part of myself that's like, well, you bought a pattern, there's no pattern,
right?
But I mean, I get it, and especially for things like bags, where
I'm a lot more calm about that when it comes to bags. Though I will say, I know I have on my shelf, I wish I'd grabbed it before we came in here, a book that's something about no patterns. I'll put it in the show notes. And it's an entire book about how to make different looks with basically circles, triangles, and squares. And it's really
cool. Japanese.
I don't think this one is.
I feel like there are some.
I'm sure there are. I don't think this one is, but the one I'm picturing right now specifically is. But it's a really cool book, and I think that is the kind of investment I'd be more likely to make, is something that instead of being a single pattern that lays out like a whole philosophy around that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll put that in the show notes in case anyone's interested in it, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like what you were talking about, Amanda, too. Like just thinking of, I haven't done this in so long, I guess, but I would do this so much more when kind of the, starting to work with patterns and like more knowledge. Sometimes the more you know hinders just kind of your free, like, just
totally.
Kind of like I haven't, I guess my wedding skirt was the last thing I've done, and the only thing I've really just kind of taken out of a piece of fabric and just kind of like Project Runway style, just threw it together, and like with no instruction, it was just kind of a sketch and just this piece of fabric. And so I really want to try and do that again. It was just, I used to do it all the time. Totally. You're just free of anything. It could be anything. There's no instructions to say, sew this seam this way and like do this step before that step, because there is no steps. It's just, you kind of know the end result and you just kind of use, whatever you think to get there.
When you were talking earlier, Meg, that exact thought ran through my head, because I feel like early in my sewing career, I would be like totally wing it. I'd sew with whatever kind of fabric. I wasn't intimidated. There was just a real like experimentation spirit to it. And now the more I know, I'm like, oh, I don't want to sew with that fabric. That fabric is going to be horrible. Like, and I don't, I don't know. It's kind of sad, but I definitely feel that.
And see, I'm sitting here kind of giving you guys a side eye because I learned to sew from somebody who was so precise about this is the right way to do this. This is what is right. And if you do not do it this way, you are wrong. And I will give you insulting feedback about it. So for me, you know what? I'm not going to get into that, and I'm not in the kind of mood where I can get into that right now. But he was so much like that, and I'm a rule follower anyway, so he kind of instilled this. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things so strongly into me that I'm not sure I've ever done something like you just described, just sitting there and messing around with something until it turned into something. It's always been very, very precise and rule followy, even when I'm draping, even when I was, trying to invent wing patterns for things. It was always, you have to start with the rectangle and know where your grain lines are, and just like really, really carefully planned out. So I don't know, maybe I need to spend some time forcing myself to do some things without patterns, just so I can learn that freedom that you guys seem to enjoy so much. Set myself free from my first sewing teacher.
I mean, I think that, there's a part of that seems true. Like, you kind of need to know the rules before you can break them. But I also feel like there is when I talk to people, this is totally off topic, but when I talk to people about sewing, they're like, I am not that detail oriented. I'm not that exact. Like, really a lot of fear about things being perfect, when I feel like sewing is actually very, very forgiving. In many ways. In some ways, no, but I don't know. I feel like there is the other side that's more, you explore. It's fabric, it's a medium, it's expression, it's not so much about right or wrong. But I say that, but I'm definitely like, I'm just going to follow the rules and make this thing and then move on to the next thing.
Right.
It's.
But you like hack and stuff. I don't even hack. I'm like, this is the way this person has designed it. I'm going to stick with this.
Yeah.
Not all the time. I mean, I do mess around a little bit, but.
Mess around.
I mess around with my patterns a little bit. Shorten up a sleeve here and there.
Whoa.
But, it's funny because, you said sewing is very forgiving, and it's true. It is. But it took me a long time to learn that, and I didn't really start enjoying sewing until I was able to learn that, because while sewing might be forgiving, this particular teacher was not.
Yeah.
And so it was that moment of learning that nobody's going to notice if this isn't precisely this, if the seam allowance wobbles a little bit, right? If it goes off by a 32nd of an inch, nobody's going to notice or care.
Yeah.
It's understanding that, and that was very freeing for me.
Yeah. And knowing just where you can fudge. I think you have to sew a good bit before you know where you have leeway and where you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, we Meg, there was one project on your list, the Summer Calling Caftan from the Sew News June-July issue of last year.
Yeah.
Me too. That's one of my favorite covers of all time. And it's also, that's just kind of what I want to wear all summer long. Such a good pattern.
And I like how it doesn't look like, it's just so, I don't know, it just looks really nice. It doesn't look like just like a big box. It's like kind of fitted, and it's nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Looks super comfy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was thinking of one, it's the kind of shift between, like, using instructions or something. But I just, when you were talking about just, freeing yourself, and what I do is just kind of, I made this yellow ruffle top. It was an off-the-shoulder Berta pattern, and it was like free-flowing. It was like a cropped, and I made it to the pattern, and then I looked in the mirror, and I was just like, I don't love it. And then I just started playing around with, I had some pins near my mirror, and then I just with my natural like hand, I just took like a large pleat and I pleated it in the center of the hem just randomly, and it just like totally changed the whole top. And it was just like me just experimenting. I'm like, I wonder if I just like pinched it, but I created like this design detail. The hem was already even done. I just like hand tacked it, and like now it's like one of my favorite summer tops. It was just so cool. Want to definitely do more of that. But
yeah. I mean, I feel like sometimes that happens too. Like you have to come up with a creative solution for something when you're sewing. And so it is kind of good to have those skills where you can kind of invent a solution for an issue. Or
in the pattern, it doesn't say, now create this pleat at the head. It was just kind of, I didn't love it.
Your
and
instincts.
So you just kind of make it, Yeah.
I feel like you have to kind of go off the cuff every once in a while to develop those instincts, and because it's I mean, that's part of the process as well.
So last thing before we move on, so if you were to because sometimes I struggle with this, like what's the right way to do it. If you have like a draft it yourself pattern, are you more inclined to draft it on paper first and cut it out, or just draft it right on your fabric? I was just wondering where we stand with that.
For me,
you can draw like just the shapes, right on the fabric, or on paper first.
For me, it really depends on what the pattern is. If it's all straight lines, probably I'm just going to draw it on the fabric. If it involves like even tracing the side of a plate or something to make a curve for a neck hole or something, then I might be more, but even then I could do that. It really depends on the how complicated it is. Like, if I can get away with just doing it straight on the fabric, I will, because that saves paper and steps and all of that. But occasionally I can definitely see wanting to pull out the paper and make it work. Especially if it's like circles, because
circles are tricky.
Circles.
Yeah, I'd probably attempt to cut it out of the fabric, just because I'm pretty comfortable. Again, from doing a lot of quilting projects. Pretty comfortable cutting on my mat and using that to kind of looking at the dimensions in that way. But for anything super complicated, I'd probably trace it out, draw it out first. And I do love the wrapping paper tip. I use that all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, honestly, a rotary system with a mat and a cutter and definitely help in that draft it yourself pattern context.
Sure.
Yeah, my kind of rule is if I cut it once out of fabric, and then if I really like it, then I document it on paper. That's kind of what I do. If I'm more likely to make it again, or if it's really big, I find if it's small, I cut it right on the fabric. But if it's big, because then I don't have a big enough table to just with the fabric laying straight. But if I can pin it and then shift it around, so if it's really big, then I draft it on paper first. So that's kind of my rule as well. Or you can always try it. What I do for if you want to try, maybe it is, some of the Berta ones can even be quite in depth with lots of different lines and curves and V's and shapes and stuff. If you want to tackle it, great, but you can also just like half the measurements and just do a little practice draft as well and cut it out. Or you can always do that, and then you have a little dolly outfit as well, a little matching caftan for your doll.
I've been seeing a lot of people in my Instagram feed experimenting with like scaling down and making things in smaller scale, just to like try out pattern hacks before they do them full scale. I've just noticed that. So It's pretty interesting. Plus, they are really cute when you make a bunch of little clothes.
And honestly, it's so easy to do, even with tiled patterns. What you do when you print it, you just say the scale, and I just put in 60%, and it just shrinks it down. And then when you print it out, it's like perfectly scaled. It's awesome. It's so cool. I'm just tiling together this little baby pattern.
Yeah, a lot less paper.
Less paper, less fabric if you want to test sew it.
Yeah, less fabric for sure. Yeah, because then you can fit sometimes 2 sheets on. What I do is I fit like, if I do like a 50%, I do it like landscape and put 2 tiles on 1 sheet. And that's really helpful as well. I know now our no pattern episode turned into just I'm talking again about patterns, like actual patterns. Oh, well, that's sometimes what happens.
It happens.
Yeah, if we go off on tangents, it's fine.
Full circle. Yeah. Yeah, we'll take a little break, and then, we have something fun later on in the episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick with us.
Okay, that was fun. And now let's have a little bit more fun with a little sewing fill in the blanks game. I'm going to be using one that is actually in the upcoming issue of Sew News, April-May 2020. And we've done these before. These are put together by a team of very talented, very special people with lots of time on their hands.
Amanda.
Yeah, just kidding. It's me, and occasionally roping in other people, but they're just kind of fun. So and definitely lighthearted. This one is actually all about summer couture trends, very tongue in cheek. So you guys know the drill. Kate, you're going to be up first.
Okay.
We'll be talking about the top trend of summer 2020. Not really.
Really. Not really.
Not really. So I'm going to have you give me a few words, and I'm going to fill in the blanks right here on air.
All right. Kate. Keep it clean.
Keep it clean. This is the PG version. You can. This will be in the issue. You can play at home, and you can do whatever you want with yours. Go for it. First garment you sewed?
Oh, what was the first garment I sewed? Probably a vest.
Last city you visited?
Vienna.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I mean, technically it was probably London because I was at the London airport on the way back, but shh.
We'll go with Vienna. I need 2 adjectives.
2 adjectives. Orange and sunny.
Least favorite fabric to sew with?
Lame.
And favorite shoes from your childhood?
Oh, jellies.
Jellies. Oh,
duh.
So good.
Oh, jellies.
Oh my God, they just killed your feet. All right, let's review the top trend for the summer.
Oh my God.
Are you guys ready?
I'm so ready for this.
Excited.
This is going to be good. There's one fashion trend finally getting its moment this summer: the vest. From the streets
That's not actually untrue either.
No, you're right. From the streets of Vienna to the runways of Paris, this trend gets an orange and sunny update this year. Just add lame and style with jellies.
Oh my God.
I feel like somebody needs to draw this.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually I'm just envisioning that.
Yeah, I could totally see
it
that.
Exists somewhere.
Well, I mean,
like an
we talked
orange
about
lame vest. Totally.
That's summery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and we were talking about waistcoats being in.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
Your past self was like super on trend.
Yeah, it wasn't orange or sunny, on trend.
But it was a vest.
It was a vest. It was a vest.
A summer vest. All right, Meg, you are up next, and you will be filling out the other must-have items for the summer season. Again,
oh my gosh.
Completely tongue-in-cheek. So first up, I need an adjective.
Squishy.
Ooh. Adjectives really are the most fun.
They are.
Worst sewing fail from 2019 or 2018. You can fudge a little bit.
Meg doesn't have any sewing fails. Because she's trying to think of something.
My dog pee trench coat.
Okay.
You better write it down exactly like that.
I completely am. Hardest project you've ever made?
Oh. Hard. That's hard. Yeah, because like I want to say my like wedding dress, but it wasn't that hard. Probably my prom dress, because it was like at that time it was really hard for me. And I actually used a wedding, now that I remember, I used a wedding dress pattern and I cut it in emerald green satin. So probably my prom dress. Yeah.
That wasn't the lime green one you made?
No, that was my grade 8 graduation dress.
Okay, cool. Because I do remember that one.
Yes. I didn't go to prom. I made it, and I was sitting home alone because I didn't
Too busy
go
sewing
with
a dress to
anybody.
get a date?
Pretty much, yeah.
Now I feel mean.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. We're all.
Oh gosh, it's fine.
Meg, least favorite color? I don't think I know this. I'm interested.
Purple.
Purple?
Really?
Yeah, I know. I hate purple.
Just doesn't go with lime green.
It just doesn't. I don't know. Sorry, Kate. I know you like purple.
I do like purple. Apparently, I'm the only one here.
Yeah, I don't really like purple either.
Well,
I mean, I like
that's
it.
fine.
It's definitely not to wear. And that's, kind of a different question.
I'm wearing purple right now.
I like the idea of purple. I like the idea of it.
It's the color of royalty, y'all. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's true. All right, Meg, most elegant project you've made?
That would be my wedding dress for sure.
Okay.
I think.
And famous fiction writer?
Oh my gosh. This is terrible because I don't read books.
Pick something random.
I'm at my parents' house right now, and I'm just looking at my mom's book stash behind me. Who do I see? Who's Maeve Binchy? Is that someone?
Yeah.
She writes romance novels. I know something about your mom now.
All right, this one could get dicey. Body part.
Keep it clean.
Yeah.
Ankle.
Perfect. Adjective.
Slippery.
Noun.
Dresser. I'm just looking at things around my room.
First celebrity crush.
Johnny Depp.
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to say that.
Really?
Yeah. Least favorite beach town.
Do people have least favorite beach towns?
Some people.
Okay.
I guess near me, because I'm in Ontario, it's like I don't like Grand Bend. It's just too rowdy. I don't like a rowdy beach.
Yeah, me too.
I like a cute, quaint, like retiree beach. I don't like a student party beach.
Exactly. Like Panama City.
I like a bed and breakfast beach, not like a
spring break.
Beer bongs on this. So I would say Grand Bend. If anyone's listening in Ontario, you probably know.
It's called Grand Bend.
Grand Bend.
Grand Bend. Okay.
Oh.
Hometown.
London, Ontario. Not.
First town you think of that starts with the letter C.
Cleveland.
Not necessarily a town, but sure.
Yeah. Town is
is
a
it?
loose. No. Not
Very, very, very loose.
Yes. All right. Are you ready? These are the
I'm
other must-have items for the summer season. The squishy yet humble dog pee trench coat. Squishy, yes. A closet full of prom dresses, all in purple.
Oh.
A sporty take on the wedding dress with a nod to Maeve Binchy. I love a sporty wedding dress. The ankle bag decked out in slippery trim. That could get dicey.
That could get dicey.
The dresser but make it fashion. Think Johnny Depp meets Grand Bend. I love that.
Oh my God.
And all of those in color palettes inspired by London and Cleveland. Again, I feel like someone should make this happen. Like, draw it out. I need a visual.
The dresser or
all
the whole
of them.
thing? The whole thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I could probably live without the squishy dog pee trench coat.
Yeah. That one's,
I like the slippery is that the bag with such long straps it dangles at your ankle?
I know, like
or it's like a belt bag and it straps to your ankle.
Oh my gosh! Or it's like an anklet, but it's like a fanny pack for your ankle. Oh my God! I think that could actually be a thing.
I know. I feel like it reminds me of the shoes back in the day that had the like zipper pouches and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you know what? That could
something.
Definitely be a thing. Yeah.
Are we all
sitting
here just like picturing our little ankle bag that we're gonna go home and make?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With slippery trim. All right. Thanks, you guys. That was so fun.
That was hilarious.
Again,
I
you
love
can
that.
fill this out with yourself, with a friend. It's in the April-May 2020 issue of So News. And I don't know. I'm inspired for summer now.
I'm going to make a vest. It's going to be orange and sunny in LeMay. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm 100% not going to do that.
Pure
All right.
fun.
Pure fun. So from there, let's jump into our Sojou segment. For anyone who doesn't know or remember, our Sojou is what is giving us our sewing mojo this week. Amanda, why don't you start us off?
Overalls.
Woo!
Yay.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of love overalls for transitional seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wearing some black kind of twill overalls, and I already have some black overalls that I made, but they are linen. So the idea was that these could be kind of more for like a winter and early spring. And but I have another pair that I'm going to be making probably in March. That'll be more like spring into summer. But I just love them. I mean, you can wear them with a cardigan. You can wear them with long sleeve, short sleeve, no sleeve. I just really like them for transitioning between seasons, and especially this time of year when I am just kind of sick of the shirt and cardigan combo. Like that is pretty much becomes my uniform. I think I've done better this year, like wearing dresses, wearing blouses, wearing different pairings. In prior years, I feel like it's all been pants, shirt, cardigan all day, every day. But I feel like overalls are kind of a nice break from that. Yeah. And they are so comfortable, especially I definitely tend towards the more baggier, loose-fitting overalls because tight-fitting overalls sounds like like a nightmare. But the ones that I just made are the Roberts collection by Maria Walker. Oh my gosh. I think that's right. I just drew a blank, but I'll put a link on it to show notes and encourage you all. Like overalls, comfortable, kind of warm.
I want overalls. Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
How about you, Meg? What's your Sojou?
I haven't really been sewing much lately. I haven't really been feeling like sewing. I don't know. It's just I'm kind of I guess in a little sewing funk. I'm still like I have my camo. I need my camo pants like that. I know it's like my third episode being like, I'm still working on these. And then when we talked about machine embroidery, I'm like, maybe I'll embroider them. But then I need to embroider them before I make them because I still iffy on placement. And but maybe I just need to do like a little like a simple thing before I jump into like full camo pants. I actually think I might make that that top, the Now and Layer top that's on the upcoming issue. I have a fabric that would be perfect for that, and I love like the extended like sleeves. It's really pretty, and so I think I just need to make something quick and easy, and then I still like
and we'll put a picture of that project up on the show notes page. And I don't think the issue is actually coming out until mid-March. Is that
That's right? Yeah.
So a sneak peek on the cover project for our listeners.
I love that project. It's so
so cute.
simple, but there's like something dramatic and artful about it.
It's elegant and
I feel like it's a good pick for those fabrics in your stash that you don't know what you're going to do with, because you could totally wear it over, like if you had something slightly sheer, you could make it and wear it over a little cami. It's really great.
It is a really pretty blouse, and I think you'll all really like it.
How about you?
You know what, I was going to say, I like deadlines and goals. My goal would be when this episode posts, hopefully I can like make it by then, and then I shouldn't set myself up for failure, but I would like to post like myself wearing this project by the time this episode is up.
It's good to have goals.
It is good to have goals.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try for that. If not, then sorry.
Well, like Meg, I am going to do my same Sojou from at least the last 2 episodes. I'm still in the sewing slump, you guys. I've made minimal progress on my tamarack jacket, as in I've actually managed to cut a few strips now, but there's a big pile of fabric that I need to cut into strips, so it's going to take a while, and I'm kind of embracing that. I'm kind of saying, okay, this is going to be a slow fashion thing. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to make my decisions mindfully. So that is what I am currently doing. In the meantime, I've been doing a little bit of crochet. My goddaughter just turned 7 on Monday, and she's outgrowing her dinosaur hat that I made her with a little T-Rex romping across the front. And her brother also has one. And so I had to make her one in a bigger size because she is a bigger size child now. So she really liked that. I made it in like a turquoise blue with a rainbow dinosaur.
Nice.
It is very cute.
I need a picture.
Oh, shoot, I didn't take one. I'll get a picture of her next time I see her.
Cool.
So yeah, it's cute.
Is it like a freestanding dinosaur, kind of like amigurumi style, or is it more of a shape in the pattern?
It's a shape in the pattern. It's actually from Interweave Crochet Accessories, I think 2014. I'll hunt it down.
Okay, cool.
They've got a whole set of kids' hats in there, but I've only ever made the dinosaur one. I've sized it up for my husband. I've never made one for myself, but it's kind of a thing, the dinosaur hat. So the T-Rex hat. So yeah.
Cool.
All right. Now it's time for our Sew and Tell segment. This is when we ask you for your opinion. So last episode we asked you, what 2020 trend are you most likely to incorporate into your sewing plans? Was the trend episode just last episode?
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
So we got some very good responses. Yeah. So Meg, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. So we had Sarah the Stitcher write in, and they said, I would love to incorporate the cutout trend. It seems like it would be right up my alley. Now I need to find a good pattern.
Yeah, that's always the hardest part.
I know it. Well, you could make a cutout is very hack friendly for any pattern you like.
It's
you just cut it, make a cutout.
I know. Ever since we talked about that, I've been thinking about hacking a bathing suit with a little cutout.
Oh,
you know, something...
I love a bathing suit cutout moment.
I mean, you can still do it kind of modestly. But have a little fun, and I have that on the brain.
Interesting. All right. So Karina B26 said, I love the tropical fabrics. Have bought so many variations the past few months. Now to get going and make Buttrick 6677 to sort out my work week uniform, which I just love that. Just tropical patterns all over the place.
Yeah. I'm ready. Bring on the greenery.
Bring on the green. Bring on the spring, please.
Oh,
it's been snowing at least once a week. More than that, most weeks.
I know.
I'm done with it.
Me too. We also heard from Sadie Fox Studio, which bonus points. Sadie is actually the gal who designed the Now and Layer top for us.
Really?
Yes. She is awesome.
Way to go.
Yeah, total bonus points.
Hi,
She's
Sadie.
terrific and super inspiring. And I love what she had to say about the trend episode. She said, I'm dreaming of an off-white transparent Wilder gown to layer over a black tank and black capri leggings for spring. Your review of trends and the pattern has me even more convinced that I need to make that, like, now. Oh, and neon, but probably more in my accessories. I love a punch of color with a neutral base. Love your podcasts.
Oh.
Same, and same.
Yes.
Yay,
that
Sadie.
sounded, I had Amanda read that one because it just sounded so much like Amanda's style.
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to peg these days.
All right. So for this episode, we want to ask you, what has your no pattern sewing experience been like? Have you ever done it? Do you enjoy it? Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That was super fun.
That was super fun. I didn't know there was so much to say about no patterns.
I know. I feel like it started one place and
I
led to
know.
other amazing places.
But, I like it best when our discussions go like that.
I know. When we started, I was like, oh, this might be a short episode. We're talking. And then, of course, we just come full
dig
circle.
deep.
I love that so much. It was really fun. And Amanda, I love little sewing Mad Libs. That's so much funny.
Yeah.
So much funny. Oh, geez. So much fun.
Yeah, that's what I dream up in my spare time. Just constantly thinking about
I think
those.
that needs to be, that need segment needs to come back every season or so.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
We try to change up what we do on that last page.
Yeah.
But this is always a fun one to go for.
But next time there is one, we have to read it again on the podcast.
All right.
I love
Will
that.
do.
Done. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, until next time.
All right. Bye,
stitching.
everyone.
For links to everything we talked about in this episode, go to our show notes page at sewdaily.com/sewandtell. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at sewandtellpodcast@goldenpeakmedia.com or visit us on Instagram at sewandtellpod. Answer the Sew and Tell question, tell us your Sojou, or just leave us some feedback. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe on your podcasting platform of choice. And please leave us a review, ideally a good one, because that helps listeners like you find our podcast. And tell your sewing friends about us too. Thanks for listening, and happy stitching. Sew and Tell is produced by Meg Healy, Amanda Carestio, and me, Kate Zeinard. Our consulting producer is Ron Doyle, and our executive producer is Jared Mayer.